Jai Gurudev, dear students, welcome again in this science class. Children, we have already started lesson number 10, that is measurements and motion. And in this chapter, I have explained you about the measurements and multiples of units, standard units, and we have studied about the submultiple units of standard units, okay, and how we measure length of any object when it is straight or curved, okay. And after that I have explained you about the importance of estimation. Then in the last class I have explained you about the story of transport, means various means of transport used by people, used by human beings in different time periods, okay. And after that we had started our next topic, motion, okay. And in motion I have explained you translatory motion and subtypes of translatory motion, that is linear, rectilinear or curvilinear motions. And rotational motion also I have explained you in the last class, okay children. And something about oscillatory or vibratory motion also I have explained you. But children, here in this new book, two more type of motions are given as periodic motion and non-periodic motions. And under this periodic motion they have explained about the oscillatory and vibratory motion. So separately also we can study about the oscillatory motion or vibratory motion, but we can study under the periodic motion also, okay. So under periodic motion, if we talk about the periodic motion, what is this periodic motion? Children, periodic motion is that kind of motion when anything repeat its motion after equal interval of time. You can see here in this paragraph they have written meaning of periodic motion. Means let's read this paragraph so that you can understand what is periodic motion. Have you ever noticed the movement of a pendulum in a wall clock? Children, when this pendulum in a wall clock, this is called a pendulum and this is a wall clock, and when this pendulum moves, it moves from the center resting position towards right and after towards left, okay. So about this motion they ask us a question that have you ever noticed this movement? Which kind of movement is shown by the pendulum of wall clock? So here they have written, it moves to and fro in a periodic motion. Means this kind of motion which moves left to right, right to left, this kind of motion is called as to and fro motion, okay, which is given here, to and fro motion. And this to and fro motion means it repeats its motion after equal intervals of time. Means why we can say that it is a to and fro motion or it is periodic motion? Because it repeats its motion after equal intervals of time. Means that after the equal intervals of time it repeats its motion. This pendulum, when it is at the center, when it takes suppose when it takes a second to move from the center to right side, then it also take a second to move towards left. So that's why we can say that it is a periodic motion. Means here equal interval of time it is taking to move either right or left. Okay children, so these kind of motions are coming under the periodic motions, which are repeating the motion after equal intervals of time. So here children, we can give example of swings of guitar also, strings of guitar, and I have explained you about this pendulum in the last class also, that this kind of motion is called as oscillatory motion also. Okay, if we hang a ball here they have shown in a activity 10.3 that if we tie a ball with the help of a string, okay, suppose this ball if we hang with the help of a string, then this ball when we push gently towards right, then when it moves to the right, at the same time it moves to the left also. Okay, so this kind of motion is called, when this ball moves from here to here to here, you can calculate its distance from the center. Means from the center its distance towards right and towards left becomes same. Okay, so that's why we can say that this kind of motion is called as periodic motion. Okay children, I hope you understood from this diagram that what is to and fro motion and what is periodic motion, and this motion is also called as oscillatory motion, which is shown by the pendulum. Okay children, so except this, one more best example they have given in your book about the earth revolution. Means, you know children, our earth takes 365 days to complete one revolution. You know children, our earth is a planet, so every planet revolve around the sun, you know that, and our earth takes 365 days to complete its one revolution. So there is a fix, we can say, time interval, and after 365 days, after 365 days it can complete its one revolution. So that's why we can say that it is a kind of periodic motion. See here in your book diagram it is given about the periodic motion and it is revolution. See, you can see here, this is sun and this is our earth. Okay, and earth always rotates around the sun and it completes this full revolution in 365 days, means in a year. So that's why this kind of revolution of the earth is also called as periodic motion. Okay, so after this children, next one is non-periodic motion. So in non-periodic motion we can give example, we can take many examples of our daily life. So whatever given examples here, I can tell you that first example they have given means, first of all we should talk about the definition. Means when you write definition of periodic motion, here just you write do not in the definition of periodic motion. If you add do not occurs at regular intervals, then it is called non-periodic. Means there are some repetitive motions also that do not occur at regular time intervals. Means here we can say that when it repeats its motion after equal intervals of time. But here what we are saying, that when any motion do not means types of motion which do not occur at regular intervals of time, then we can say those motions are non-periodic motion. So best example and very common example we can take from our body also. You know children, when we walk, you see our hands swinging that time. Means our hands are moving. One time we move our right hand, and after we move our left hand, and in this way we walk. While walking, we use our both the hands after one another. Okay, and this swinging of our hands or our arms show a kind of motion which cannot be called as periodic motion, because it sometimes we walk faster, and at that time we swing our arms also faster. Okay, and when we walk slowly, we move our hands also slowly, or we move our arms also slowly. So that's why these kind of motions are called non-periodic motions. And second example they have given here, flying bird. You know that when birds fly in the sky, they also show a kind of motion with the help of their feathers. They flip their feathers, and they move their feathers up and down to move ahead or to fly. But this kind of motion of their feathers also called non-periodic, because their feathers always not moving in a this periodic type of motion. Means not moving in a equal intervals of time or regular intervals of time, because sometimes birds move faster and sometimes they fly slowly. Okay, so according to that we can say that this kind of motion which is shown by the birds during flying, it is also a non-periodic motion. Okay, and here in this paragraph they have written about these two examples, and one more example they have given here, a car moving on a road. Okay, a car moving on a road is also a non-periodic motion, because whenever any vehicle is moving on the road, sometimes it moves faster with a fast speed, and sometimes the driver put brakes and that car stops, or sometimes it keeps the speed slower. So that time we can't say that car is moving in a same speed. Okay, so that's why this kind of motion is also a non-periodic motion. It does not repeats, means this motion does not repeats after equal intervals of time. So that's why it is non-periodic motion. So children, after this uh, our last topic is about different types of motion at the same time. This also we can see in many things in our daily life, that we can see many motions in a single time, or more than one motion in a more than one kind of motion in a single object. So here two examples they have shown through this diagram or this picture. You can see, children, this football, when it moves in a straight line, means suppose any person who kicks this football, when this football moves on a straight line, at that time also two kind of motions we can see here. One is rectilinear motion, because full ball is moving on a straight line, and second motion is circular motion, because here you can see ball starts moving, and after movement it is or after rotation it is moving on a straight line. Okay, so rotational motion, or we can say circulatory, any word you can use. So rotational motion as well as rectilinear motion, both the motions we can see in a moving ball. In the same way, when cycle is moving on a straight path or on a straight road, at that time we can see these both the kind of motions, because wheel of the cycle, they show rotational motion, as well as that cycle, full cycle is moving on a straight line, so this is also called a rectilinear motion. Okay, children, so here in this way they have given some more examples here in this paragraph. So let's read where we can see kind of motions which are more than one. Okay, so an object can have more than one type of motion at a time. Observe a sewing machine. Children, I think sewing machine is there in every home, but if you don't have, then also you can see in tailor's shop that how the sewing machine is working. Okay, this machine is used to stitch the clothes, and tailors are using this kind of machine, so you can easily see in tailor's shop. You will see the rotational motion of its wheel, while its needle going up and down shows periodic motion. Because children, here two type of motion we can see in the sewing machine. One motion is rotational motion, because one wheel is there which is moving continuously, it shows the rotational motion, and its needle with which we can stitch our clothes, that needle moves up and down, which is showing periodic motion, because needle going up and down in a equal intervals of time, means here to and fro motion is working. Okay, so that's why this periodic motion is shown by the needle. And here we can also see two kind of motions. So after this, Earth's rotation around its axis is rotational motion, while its revolution around the sun is a periodic motion. Yes, children, you have studied in junior classes also about the earth rotation, that earth always rotates on its axis, that which is called rotation and rotational motion. Okay, and side by side, Earth also take a revolution means around the sun. So that is called revolution. So Earth also shows two kind of motions. One is rotational motion and second is revolution motion. Okay, so that's why, and this revolution is a kind of periodic motion. So here also in the earth rotation we can see two kind of motion in a single object. So after that example they have given of bicycle. I have explained you through the diagram that in bicycle also two kind of motions we can see, and in football also, or moving ball, or we can say rolling ball, here they written, that also shows two kind of motions. That is translatory means rectilinear motion. Okay, so and rotational motion here. Okay, so children, this is our last topic of the chapter. So with this our this chapter number 10 is completed, and after this class, in the next class I'll explain you about the exercise part, and I'll send you notes of this chapter also. Okay, so children, in this chapter I have explained you each and every term and every topics also. So if you find any problem in this chapter, you can ask me during the doubt session, and read full chapter properly. Every topic you thoroughly read and compare all these kind of motion with one another, so that you can understood better. And one thing I want to remind you, that in the very first class of this chapter I have given you one assignment. That assignment I have told you that you have to measure the length of your bed with the help of your hand span and hand span of your parents, means either father or mother, so that you can write down in a tabular form. So children, I think you have completed that assignment, and you should write that kind of activity in your this chapter number 10 in science notebook. Okay, whenever I'll correct the copy during copy correction work, that time I'll check your assignment also. So in this we have completed all the topics, and one assignment is there, so you complete that. And exercise part, you know children, exercise is always given inside the chapter also, and sometimes means inside the chapter and after the chapter. So we will complete exercise from the chapter which is given in between, and after that given after the completion of the chapter, so that we will discuss in the next class. I'll give you exercise, and that exercise you fill in book only and learn from the book. Don't write any exercise in your science notebook. Okay, only question answers which I'll give you in the form of PDF, that you will write in your science notebook. Okay, so for today this much is enough. You read the full chapter, and if you have any problem you can ask me. So complete your work. So Jai Guru Dev children.